CBN holds rates steady, targets single-digit inflation amid rising reserves and investor confidence.
Maintaining the current policy stance will continue to address the existing and emerging inflationary pressure.
It is estimated that Nigeria loses about $18 billion annually due to profit shifting and aggressive tax avoidance practices.
Illicit financial flows, federal government scales up vigilance through digital tax intelligence. Plus, no going back on 2026 plans for full computer-based examination, Education Minister affirms.
We have thousands of CBT centers across the nation. Those are the centers that we're going to use.
Good evening and welcome to the Network News. I am Olajide Bello. Joining me from Lagos is Adeola Komiakere. Benny Adams will give us details of the Monetary Policy Committee meeting of the Central Bank of Nigeria, holding interest rate at 27.5% to check inflation. Benny, what does this portend for the economy?
Well, it portends a steady growth as well as the potential for cheaper credit, particularly for MSMEs.
Many thanks, Benny. While on sports, congratulations, Nigeria. Super Falcons beat South Africa to reach WAFCON 2024 final. But I'm sure expectations of Nigeria will be high in our next match.
Very high, Olajide, and of course, with one more win, Mission Next will be achieved. And with the look of things going by the ongoing semi-final match, it could be a Jollof derby.
All right, many thanks, Bade. Remember, you can watch this broadcast live on our website, nta.ng/live, and on our other social media handles displayed on your screen. President Bola Tinubu has directed the National Single Window Steering Committee to ensure the platform becomes fully operational by the first quarter of 2026. Chief of Staff Femi Gbajabiamila, who represented the president, delivered the directive during the 5th Steering Committee meeting held at the State House, Abuja. He said the recent Tax Reform Act signed into law in June underscored the urgency to accelerate reforms and push towards achieving Nigeria's $1 trillion economy target. The Chief of Staff, who emphasized the role of a unified electronic platform in simplifying Nigeria's import and export operations, also highlighted the importance of financial and trade reforms in achieving national economic transformation.
The critical objective of streamlining international trade by creating a centralized electronic platform for processing our import and export transactions cannot be overemphasized. Indeed, it will not only boost investments and trade revenues, but ensure transparency and credibility of Nigeria's readiness for business.
Members of the National Single Window Steering Committee, including Ministers of Finance and Industry, Trade and Investment, spoke on the progress of the committee's assignment.
We are so close now that my concern and question will be, let us focus on any area of difficulty.
So just to commend the steering committee and to say let's keep on track and let Q1 2026 be an actuality.
In April 2024, the committee seeks to consolidate all agencies involved in imports and exports onto a unified electronic portal. It is expected to reduce trade costs, cut delays, and enhance transparency and efficiency at Nigerian ports. And to the National Assembly, senators approved federal government 2025-2026 rolling borrowing plan as captured in the 2025 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper. Also approved is President Tinubu's request for the issuance of FGN bonds in the domestic market by the Debt Management Office worth 757 billion naira to settle outstanding pension liabilities under the contributory pension scheme. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali has details.
The approvals were among several considerations at plenary as Senate resumed after a week of mourning following the demise of the late former President Muhammadu Buhari. The approval of the 2025 and 2026 foreign and domestic borrowing plan also includes the establishment of foreign currency denominated issuance program in the domestic debt market.
22 states in the federation are going to benefit from these different loans as outlined.
We now have all sources of revenue to fund the 2025 budget in place. Eastern Rail Line from Port Harcourt to Maiduguri. A provision that was put in the budget, $3 billion. I didn't need to look at any other thing to support this borrowing plan.
With the tax reform that we have come up with, you will see that even as we are today, we have not defaulted one single time in our repayments.
The Senate Committee on Local and Foreign Debts, in the report it submitted containing recommendations, explained that all the borrowings are on concessional terms with low interest rates and reasonably long amortization period. Senate has passed for second reading the Nigerian Export-Import Bank Act Amendment Bill to make it more responsive.
Diversifying our economy, earning foreign exchange and creating jobs. So to effectively fulfill these crucial responsibilities and compete globally, the bank must be adequately recapitalized.
By recapitalizing this entity, by repositioning its governance structure, by moving it from Ministry of Finance to Ministry of Trade and Industry, is something that you need to be committed for.
Also passed at second reading is the bill that seeks to provide legal framework for the National Safe School Initiative.
To implement measures to prevent and respond to safety and security threats, such as bullying, violence, and natural disasters, in order to promote more positive and supportive school culture.
The philosophical cornerstone behind this bill is against the backdrop of avalanche of various security breaches in our schools across the nooks and crannies of this country.
Meanwhile, Senate has set aside Wednesday, July 23rd, for a special session in honor of the late former President Muhammadu Buhari. The lawmakers also paid tribute to the late Awujale of Ijebuland, Oba Sikiru Adetona, who joined his ancestors, and the late Kano State business icon Alhaji Alhassan Ntata.
Allahumma agapirhu.
Special prayers were offered for the repose of their souls and a minute's silence observed in their honor.
The soul of all faithful departed be granted a Jannah Fidal by Almighty Allah. Amen.
From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
And away from the National Assembly, the Minister of State Finance, Doris Anete, believes that the success in the fight against illicit financial flows must move beyond dialogue to the deployment of real-time data exchange, robust enforcement and strengthened accountability. Benny Adams reports that the event is the opening of the 2025 National Conference on Illicit Financial Flows in Abuja.
From transactions on the streets to boardrooms and digital platforms, Nigeria on a daily basis loses money through illicit financial flows, a shadow economy of tax evasion, money laundering and corrupt dealings that continue to drain the nation's commonwealth and undermining progress.
It is estimated that Nigeria loses about $18 billion annually due to profit shifting and aggressive tax avoidance practices.
If retained, these resources could transform investment in education, health, infrastructure, and subnational development, particularly amid shrinking development aid flows.
This is why regional governments and experts at this conference are harmonizing ideas towards combating illicit financial flows. This is as they believe that each unaccounted dollar undermines governance, erodes trust, and translates into losses.
Criminal networks adapt quickly, whether through secrecy jurisdiction, the manipulation of beneficiary ownership, or digital innovation. Illicit actors continue to outpace traditional enforcement. Our response must therefore be agile, intelligence-led, and globally coordinated.
addition to those pillars, trade, tax, debt, aid, and so on, you also need to think about the role of media, the role of education, and technology itself.
Speakers here agree that strengthening Nigeria's domestic resource mobilization, in addition to collaboration with law enforcement, the judiciary and international partners, will go a long way in closing the loopholes. Benny Adams, NTA News.
The Monetary Policy Committee of the Central Bank has once again voted to hold interest rate at 27.5%, keeping its grip on inflation while foreign reserves hit $40 billion. Musa Abubakar reports that the Central Bank Governor, Olayemi Cardoso, maintained that confidence in the Naira is rising and banks are already surpassing recapitalization targets.
With inflation showing signs of cooling and the economy growing at a pace above 3%, Nigeria's apex bank says no sudden moves. The monetary policy rate stays put at 27.50%. The asymmetric corridor remains at plus 500 and minus 100 basis points, while banks still face a cash reserve ratio of 50% and for merchant banks 16%. Liquidity still at 30%.
Maintaining the current policy stance will continue to address the existing and emerging inflationary pressure. The MPC will continue to undertake rigorous assessment of economic conditions, price development, and outlook to inform future policy decisions.
Investor confidence is making a comeback, driven by Nigeria's positive trade surplus and bolstered by a foreign reserve now topping $40 billion. In the banking sector, the recapitalization race is heating up. 8 banks have already crossed the finish line, meeting the CBN's minimum requirement ahead of time.
Liquidity levels are 50% and NPLs at the 5% threshold. So I think in those terms, our banking system is really and truly come of age, and I believe is fit for purpose, and we just can only but get better.
But for the CBN, it's not just about digits, it's about food on tables. The bank is now calling on fiscal authorities to support farmers with inputs aiming to boost local production and tame food inflation. From stabilizing prices to restoring confidence, the central bank says the journey continues, slow and steady, but focus on impact. In Abuja, I am Musa Abubakar, NTA News.
Now let's do some more business with Benny Adams. Benny?
Thank you, Olajide. Now, the federal government has inaugurated an interministerial committee to oversee the implementation of the Human Capital Opportunities for Prosperity and Equity, that is, the HOPE program, aimed at enhancing service delivery in education, healthcare, and governance. The committee, chaired by the Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Abubakar Atiku Bagudu, and co-chaired by the Minister of Finance, Health, and Social Welfare, Education and Women Affairs, is tasked with assessing the program's progress, evaluating disbursement, reviewing national priorities, strengthening capacity building, and addressing implementation challenges.
This is a collaborative endeavor to complement some of the bold and courageous decisions that our president had taken and is taking. And we are just to use this yet again to support that endeavor.
But at the heart of all these efforts is human capital development. It is the lifting of millions of Nigerians out of poverty.
And hopefully, if we succeed in executing it, the 3.36% HCI that we have will change radically and Nigeria will take off.
And I can assure you of the full cooperation of our ministry in any way possible to make the program successful.
And More on growing the economy, the Presidential Committee on Economic and Financial Inclusion is partnering the Border Community Development Agency alongside other development partners towards unlocking a $2 billion potential for economic and financial inclusion using forest resources. Stakeholders say the border forest communities, comprising 104 local government councils in 21 states, has the potential to create new economic opportunities, create jobs and revenue streams for local communities as well as the government.
Around our border communities, so many economic activities, so many economic potentials and all of that, they feel that they are actually, excluded. They are at a disadvantaged position. So because of that, we feel that we need to bring them together so as to rally around this ecosystem so that those communities will also feel part and parcels of renewed hope agenda of Mr. President.
So we're using our technologies. In addition to that as well, we're building models whereby we can understand the amount of composition and the amount of also decomposition in which all this would go into understanding how much of emission and value that is required for that particular environment.
Now look at the market at this time. At the end of today's trading session on the exchange, a total of 771.6 million shares in 32,734 deals corresponding to a market value of 26.785 billion were traded. On the aggregate, 129 listed equities participated in trading, ending with 36 gainers and 34 losers. And looking at the charts at this time, summarily, LLX lost just 9 naira 90 kobo at this time, Legend Internet 5 naira 31 kobo, as well as FinCoco 6 naira 9 kobo. And on the top trades, Access Core is top with 102.8 million, valued at 2.7 billion. LLX, though, lost here, came here as the top loser, but then traded 56.7 million, valued at 586.3 million. And UBA is on the third spot at this time. This is it on business. Olajide, you can take it from here.
Many thanks, Benny, and let's head straight back to the National Assembly, where the House of Representatives has approved the report of its Public Accounts Committee, recommending that 29 federal ministries, departments and agencies of government are to refund 10.4 billion naira to government coffers. These follow the consideration of the report of the House Committee of the Whole. National Assembly correspondent Mitairi Ikwen reports.
The report of the House Public Account Committee had 20 recommendations drawn from investigative hearings based on the annual report of the Auditor General of the Federation for 2019 and 2020. The committee said it received and considered written and oral submissions of 60 out of 74 MDAs.
Government vehicles were taken away, 4 heads of MDAs upon their exit from office and are yet to be returned. Abandoned project observed in Nigeria Embassy in Sao Tome and Principe after spending 245 million in 2011.
The ranking member mentioned that this report may affect the jobs of certain people. So be it.
We must escalate this report for Nigerians to know the real people who are behind the problems that we suffer in this country as Nigerians. It's not as if one is totally and finally indicted. This document goes to the executive arm for implementation.
Most of the countries in West Africa are considering 2024 report as we speak. We are still talking about 2029, 2020 report.
The House passed the 2025 appropriation bill of 1.48 trillion naira for Rivers State, clarifying that the budget is for the fiscal year and not just the period of emergency rule.
We can't do a budget for the next 2 months or 1.5 months remaining for the expiration of the emergency rule. When the House of Assembly is restored, they have the constitutional rights to take this budget and take a second look at it.
9 bills were passed at Thursday's plenary, including bill to amend the Federal Road Safety Commission Establishment Act to empower the commission with responsibility for road traffic administration and related matters. Several other bills also passed second reading.
To amend the Nigerian Defense Academy Act, establishing a pathway for admission into the NDA.
Following an urgent motion, the House condemned the United States' decision to downgrade visa status for Nigerians.
Urge the United States Embassy in Nigeria and the United States Department of State to rescind the new visa policy decision.
At the close of plenary, lawmakers wrote tributes in honor of former President Muhammadu Buhari. From the National Assembly, Mitaire Ikwen, NTA News.
You're watching the Network News. More reports will return. Thanks for being there. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, was among stakeholders at the 2025 Blueprint Public Lecture and Awards event, where the role of the media in nurturing Nigeria's democracy was reaffirmed. Saliu Abdullahi Gwanara reports that the event was an opportunity to highlight the prospect of the renewed Hope 8-point agenda on food security.
The reform agenda to explore the enormous potential of livestock to boost food security in Nigeria is getting more support and attention. In this year's public lecture by the 14-year-old newspaper Blueprint, stakeholders, including its founder, Minister of Information and National Orientation, reaffirmed that the steady, transformative and innovative vision of the current administration in all critical sectors are taking the country to a secured future.
Establishment of the Federal Ministry of Livestock Development clearly underscores the importance the President attaches to unlocking the vast potentials in this sector. Nigeria is home to millions of livestock, yet we have barely scratched the surface of its economic possibilities that range from meat and dairy production to hide and skin and processed exports to regional and global markets.
We hope that the media will continue to flourish in this country. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is an ardent supporter of the media. He knows that the media is very critical in nation building. And he has told me severally that I should go and do my job as best as I deem fit, being a professional myself. And that is what I'm doing. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will not in any way, form or shape stifle or stand in the way of the progress or the work of the media in this country. But all of us media practitioners have to come together to walk this very delicate path and ensure that society is being kept together while also holding leaders and governments to account.
Mid-term into the 4-year mandate of the current administration, they assured more wins in all sectors and called for unrelenting collaboration from the citizens to be part of the ongoing renewed hope journey towards prosperity in Abuja. Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara, NTA News.
And the Nigerian television authorities leveraging emerging technologies to drive digital broadcasting programs and news reportage in line with global best practices. This came to the fore during inspection of facilities by Chairman Board of Directors of the African largest TV network, Felix Morka. Yusuf Jika reports.
The African largest television network, the NTA, has kept track with the growth and development of Nigeria, building bridges of peace and unity in diversity and creating new opportunities for exploits. Now, this leading media outfit in the country is about to take a different turn owing to the visit of its chairman, Board of Directors, Felix Morka, who toured facilities and deepened commitments for greater productivity.
I want to be part of that story, to work with management, to, again, whether it's equipment, whether it's facilities, whether it's content, programming, we will leave nothing untouched in our effort to reposition NTA for growth and to outcompete even some of the finest in the private sector.
Felix Morka lauded the lofty contributions of NTA in an evolving broadcast world and pledged to pay more attention to staff welfare and professional support for efficient and effective service delivery.
But this is really a call to duty. Some of them work extraordinary hours beyond the call of just regular civil service job. So it's important that they are motivated, properly rewarded for their contribution to national development through the facility of the NTA. So as chairman, I will be working with the management and again working with other agencies of government to see how we can make improvements.
If you look at the contribution that NTA is making in nation building and also in the sustenance of peace and tranquility in this country, I think regardless of how much that the staff of the NTA takes at the end of the month will not be too much. I know the government doesn't have everything, but of course there is need for us to look at the plight of NTA staff with a view to at least getting close to what is desired.
This visit is believed to begin a new era of surpassing the present gain under the current management led by the Director General Saliu Abdulhamid Dembos. In Abuja, Yusuf Jika, NTA News.
And talking health, the presidential initiative on unlocking the healthcare value chain, PIVAC, and Empower Swiss Academy have taken significant steps towards establishing a physical training hub across Nigeria. During a visit to the National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure, Naseni Innovation Hub in Abuja, PIVAC National Coordinator Dr. Abdul Mukhtar and CEO of Empower Swiss, Professor Paul Lalvani, expressed the federal government's readiness to collaborate with Nigerian partners to strengthen capacity in the pharmaceutical industry.
We thought we should come today to really just, again, have this discussion, see the facilities, and see whether this is an option in any way to partner, either way, either phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, depending on what the facilities are here, and see how we can collaborate.
On this side of the table, we can boast of over 25 years cumulative experience in program design, program execution, training, and the likes.
The vision over here in partnership with PIVAC and the Minister of Health has been to create first a digital academy, and components of that will be launched in the next few months already.
The proposed training hub aims to train approximately 2,000 industry professionals, medicine regulators, and university graduates annually in drugs manufacturing and good manufacturing practices. Now to education, the federal government has reaffirmed commitment to making all West African Examination Council WAEC and the National Examinations Council NECO test fully computer-based by 2026. Minister of Education Dr. Tunji Alausa reasserts these while monitoring the ongoing 2025 NECO Senior Secondary Certificate examinations in Abuja. Olayinka Ojo reports.
That sound marks countdown to Nigeria's transition from paper-based to computer-based examinations, a shift where pens are gradually giving way to keyboards and digital screens. Although the October-November examinations will still adopt blended formats of both paper and pencil and computer-based testing, the gradual shift is already yielding results. The improved structure has not only enhanced the quality of assessment, but also helped reduce examination malpractices.
There's credibility in NECO in conducting exams.
At two different schools in Abuja, one using computer-based testing and the other still relying on traditional pen and paper, the Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, reaffirms government commitment to align with global best practices.
We have thousands of CBT centers across the nation. Those are the centers that we're going to use. We also have to expand the value chain of these CBT centers. They shouldn't just be to service JAMB alone. They should be able to service WAEC and NECO.
And the council says it is ready to conduct examinations in any format, despite current infrastructural limitations.
We are calling for government at the state level to speed up making provision for CBE infrastructures in their states, because that will highly support the process.
A total of 1,367,210 candidates are currently sitting for the 2025 Senior Secondary School Certificate examination, both within and outside the country. Olayinka Ojo, NTA News.
And Gombe State government has commenced payment of another batch of retirement benefits, this time around to local government retired workers. Emmanuel Akila reports.
Governor Muhammad Ino Yahya presenting checks to over 1,000 retired workers of local government areas to settle the inherited backlog of over 21 billion naira in gratuity arrears owed state and local government retirees as of 2019.
I am proud to announce that through disciplined financial management and unwavering commitment to the welfare of our civil servants, both retired and active, With today's disbursement of 2.06 billion naira to local government retirees, we have so far disbursed 25.626 billion naira.
It is a bright light at the end of a dark tunnel for retirees of local governments in Gombe State who retired many years but have been expecting their retirement benefits.
I have some children in which I want them to further their study. I cannot afford it. I have some girls which I want to send them to their husband. I cannot afford it because of this financial position. So there's nothing I can do. I only pray for God that day to come, and now the day has come.
Our prayer has been to live to collect our retirement benefits with our hands so that we can use it to settle the debts we have.
The entities will be better equipped.
Secretary to Gombe State Government, Professor Ibrahim Abubakar Njodi, on behalf of the governor, used the occasion to inaugurate the chairman and members of reconstituted boards and commissions appointed by the governor recently. In Gombe, Emmanuel Akila, NTA News.
A major economic milestone has been sealed in Ondo State as Backbone Infrastructure Limited inks a landmark deal with the state government to build a 500,000 barrels per day oil refinery in Ilaje. Justin Bem Onye reports that the project is expected to drive massive job creation and attract investment.
The construction of a 500,000 barrels per day oil refinery in Igbotiri, a larger local government area of Ondo State, is said to be a bold step toward economic transformation in the state. At the signing of Memorandum of Understanding ceremony in Akure, the Managing Director of Backbone Infrastructure, Mr. Henry Owonka, emphasized the project will include essential infrastructure such as roads and storage terminals and will significantly boost the state's economy, create employment, and help reduce crime. Under the MOU, Backbone will hold a 65% equity share, while the Ondo State government and the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited will take 20% and 15%.
And it is time for us to come together, put our efforts in, and put this state, in the space where it belongs in the country.
The second phase of the deal includes the development of the Sunchild Industrial Park and Free Trade Zone, an initiative set to elevate Ondo's position as an investment destination.
I want to specifically ask that we take care of the host communities. It's very important to us.
Meanwhile, Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa, in a prior meeting with investors, described the project as a game changer, aligned with his development agenda, pledging full government backing.
It's going to be a mutually beneficial relationship, I believe. And at the end of the day, we all smile, we all rejoice.
We've had some other invitations, but none has provided the congruence in terms of spirit, motivation, and the leadership that we've seen from Ondo State.
Justin Bem Onye, NTA News.
And time to join Adeola Komiakere in Lagos for stories making the rounds from that zone. Good evening, Adeola. It's over to you.
Olajide. To further curb the challenges of farmers across the 6 geopolitical zones of the Federation, there is a need for holistic implementation of a national agricultural policy. Diana Ajala reports that stakeholders are also calling for the establishment of farm rangers to protect farmers and their activities.
Access to fresh agricultural products and their circulation is essential for any nation, and farmers contribute significantly to this, even under harsh conditions.
Relying on the United Nations Sustainable Development.
This forum is aimed at deepening stakeholders' engagement and ensuring the revised national gender policy on agriculture reflects the live realities and aspirations of women, young people, and marginalized groups in Nigeria's agricultural sector.
The revised edition of the gender policy looks at all stakeholders in agriculture, whether you are in urban, semi-urban, or rural areas. We need to begin to target Nigerians at all levels.
We talked about getting agro rangers to help farmers
in the farms. We are trying to put some frameworks and structures and implementation approaches in place that would actually help to reduce the incidences of insecurity and fear that farmers have and experience on their farm.
Grace Bukola is excited about the prospects and insists she has no regrets going into farming.
Even advise my children to go into farming.
Just like Grace, Sunny Akim, a graduate of business administration and person living with disability, ventured into farming after difficulty in securing a white-collar job.
I want to be more in agri-tech, always something, online to market your products.
For stakeholders, the implementation of national policy, which covers 9 areas targeted at ensuring the well-being of farmers, will enhance their livelihood, improve security, and go a long way in reducing the price of food in the country. In Lagos, Diana Ajale, NTA News.
Local governments are important for effective governance at the grassroots level. The level of political awareness at the just concluded local government elections in Lagos reflects the need for more civic engagement on the significant roles of one of the 3 tiers of government that drives infrastructural development to the grassroots. Amaka Owo reports.
A comparison between elections held at the local government level and other tiers of government, analysts say, shows a widening gap in the level of awareness, sensitization, interest, and low participation for local government elections.
The local government is the closest to the people. Should be the first that where citizens can get dividends of democracy, and that is important. And we need to pay more attention to our local government chairpersons. We need to look at their capacity. You don't just pick anybody and say you must be a local government chairman.
Analysts are also of the view that local government remains the engine room to drive democratic participation, growth, and expansion, especially with the Supreme Court ruling providing legal backing for financial autonomy in July 2024.
There is money being given directly to local government chairmen. Your roads, your lights, your street lights, the sanity of your environment, the cleanliness, sanitation, it's in their hands. Even healthcare centers, local healthcare centers, there's so much they can do now. We must spotlight the local government, the councillors, the State House, the National House, and the Senate.
We have no business complaining when we don't actually go out and fulfill our civic duties.
The call for attitudinal change, especially nonchalant disposition, poor communication, lack of commitment, and voter apathy, observed during local government elections. In Lagos, Amaka O, NTA News.
And those are the reports from Lagos. The network news will continue with Olajide in Abuja after this break.
Many thanks for being there. The Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency, NISA, has called on stakeholders in flood management and mitigation to remain vigilant as 27 states are projected to experience flooding between July 22nd and August 5th, 2025. In a statement issued on Tuesday, NISA says that apart from the affected states, 739 communities across 162 local government areas could also be impacted. The agency urged communities at risk to implement evacuation plans to ensure safety. And away from that, First Lady Oluremi Tinubu felicitates wife of the Vice President Nana Shatima on the occasion of her 50th birthday celebration. In a birthday message captioned 50 golden cheers, Your Excellency, the First Lady rejoices with the celebrant, her husband, the Vice President, children, grandchildren, family, friends, and loved ones. She says working with Nana Shatima has not only been pleasurable, but complimentary, and wishes her many more years in divine health, peace, joy, and happiness. Similarly, the First Lady rejoices heartily with Senator Gbenga Ashafa as he turns 70. The First Lady applauds the celebrant for a life of service and leadership, praying God to grant Ashafa more strength and wisdom as he continues to be of service to the nation. And another break beckons. The news continues in a moment. Don't go away. Glad to know you're still there. Up next is Global Update.
UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres on Tuesday in a speech before the UN Security Council decried what he referred to as total disregard for international law by Israel in the ongoing war in Gaza, with a call for an end to the violation.
These failures to uphold international obligations are coming at a time of a widening geopolitical divides and conflicts. And the cost is staggering, measured in human lives, shattered communities, and lost futures.
In the same vein, UN Rights Chief Volker Turk also cautioned that permanently displacing Gaza's population will be a war crime and possibly a crime against humanity.
These latest Israeli airstrikes and ground operations will invariably lead to further civilian deaths and destruction of civilian infrastructure. Homes have already been destroyed, and thousands have been forced to flee the area again.
He stressed that Israel, as the occupying power, must ensure food, medical and other supplies are provided for the population.
Rather than launching round upon round of new military attacks, there must be an immediate end to the killings, to the destruction and the wide-scale violations of international law.
Meanwhile, Arab League permanent members held an extraordinary meeting in Cairo, Egypt, over the humanitarian situation in Gaza, as more and more countries are joining the calls for an immediate end to hostilities. Chukunonsonwa Bweze, NTN News.
And over now to sport updates with Bade Adeleye. Bade.
Many thanks, Olajide. Let's begin with the Super Falcons of Nigeria, who are through to the final of the 2024 Women's Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco after a thrilling 2-1 win over rivals South Africa earlier this evening in Casablanca. In a tightly contested semi-final at the Labi Zaoli Stadium, the Falcons struck first in the 45th minute through a Rashidat Ajibade penalty. The defending champions Bayana responded early in the second half with a penalty of their own. With both teams pushing for a winner, defender Michel Alozie stole the show in the 90th minute with a sensational long-range winner that left the South African goalkeeper confused. The result means Nigeria will now have the chance to win a record-extending 10th WAFCON title as they await the winner of the other semi-final between Morocco and Ghana.
This is teamwork. It's not about me carrying this trophy today, but it's all about the team effort and all the fans out there roaring and supporting us today.
Still on the Super Falcons, Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu has commended the Super Falcons of Nigeria for their victory over South Africa in the semi-finals of the Women's Africa Cup of Nations. The First Lady notes that the Super Falcons have once again shown the world the strength, courage and brilliance of the Nigerian women, while describing their passion, discipline and unity on the field as a shining example to young girls everywhere that nothing good is beyond reach. The First Lady notes that the victory is more than just a ticket to the final of the championship, but a powerful reminder of what can be achieved through collective belief and unity. She urges the team to finish strong and expresses hope that they achieve their Mission Next campaign by lifting the coveted trophy. To a bit of golf now, President of the Nigeria Golf Federation, Olusegun Orishawe, has praised the remarkable performance of young Nigerian golfers during the country's historic debut at the inaugural ISF World School Golf Championship held in Rabat, Morocco. Nigeria participated in the tournament with two promising players, Oluwasetimi Oyero of Ikeja Golf Club and Oluwamayomile Adeson Orumbeja of Ikoyi Club 1938, both competing in the under-15 boys category. The team was led by the technical director of the Nigeria Golf Federation, Olajide Bolaji. Otumba Runshewe commended the duo for their courage, talent and sportsmanship, while reaffirming the Federation's dedication to nurturing grassroots talent and strengthening Nigeria's global footprint in the sport. That does it on sports tonight, but let's remind you that the ongoing semi-final game between Ghana and Morocco, the last time we checked, it was 1-1. It's back to you, Olajide.
Many thanks, Badi Adile there. And former head of state, General Yakubu Gowon, has paid a condolence visit to the Nigerian High Commission in London following the death of former President Muhammadu Buhari. Accompanied by his wife, Victoria Gowon, and former leader, was received by the acting High Commissioner, Ambassador Mohammed Maina Meidugu. Recalling their long-standing relationship since the military days, General Gowon expressed deep sorrow over the passing of former President Buhari, a trusted friend who was committed to the nation's unity and democratic progress, as evident in the support for his successor, President Bola Tinubu, during the last general elections. His wife, Victoria Gowon, also spoke about the close personal bond her family shared with the late president. A renowned political scientist and president of the Institute of Governance and Social Research, JOS, Professor Jonah Isawa, has passed on. A statement by his daughter, Victoria, states that he died at the age of 77. Professor Isawa was a prolific writer and staunch advocate for democracy, and he held various positions throughout his distinguished career. And up next is the weather forecast.
Hello, I'm Theodora Itzum, and this is your weather forecast for Wednesday. We anticipate rainfall activities, although the intensity is likely to be lower than what we've experienced in the past 24 hours, particularly during the morning hours. And with that, thunderstorms with rains are expected in parts of the northern region, parts of Katsina, Kano, Kaduna, Jigawa, while morning rains are anticipated in parts of FCT, Nasarawa, Niger, Kwara, down to parts of Cross River and Akwa Ibom states. As we go into the afternoon and evening hours, thunderstorms are likely in parts of the northern region, with the exception of parts of Borno and Sokoto, while isolated rains are anticipated in parts of the north central down to the southern region. Stand by for the temperature forecast. Thank you for watching, and join us again.
And that's it on the Network News. Many thanks for being a part of it. I am Olajide Bello.